was going to say people who are not
Wait,
paranoid.
what? Stop.
Oh, when did Barbara come back? Shanna.
What kind of tips
Which
are
Barbara?
these?
Front end.
Like a long time ago at this point.
Okay. Because she left right before I did.
Y'all, we're going to start in about 30 seconds.
Did you hear what I was
Did you ever know she wasn't cool?
No.
She was terrible to work with. She was power up.
Oh, Barbara.
But now she's been like, her wild pony spirit's been broken.
That's awful.
Because she was promoted to assistant manager, and then she demoted herself because she was like, nuh-uh, Fisher's Landing.
Oh.
All right.
So now she's back, and she's
Let's do this in
much
5, 4, 3. Oh my gosh. Hello. Welcome, everybody. This is Critical Misfits, the Terra Sentia series. I have no idea what session or episode it is, but I am sure that it will say down below in the whatever.
Who do you do?
I am your Dungeon Master, Bill Bryan. These are my wonderful, wonderful players. Will.
we are the Misfits.
Shanna.
That's me.
Connor.
Hi.
Ashleen. And reprising his role today as Michaux is Daniel Eshoo. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. What do we want to talk about?
I would give you
I usually give a little shout out or a plug to like somebody or something or whatever, and I want to talk about a organization that is a part of, I think, most of our works. A lot of us work at New Seasons, and there's this organization that works through our banana growers called Project Amigo. And Project Amigo is an organization, a nonprofit organization that makes it possible for kids in certain areas in Mexico, particularly super low income, to have their kids go to school and have all of the amenities that they need for school all year round. Essentially getting a quality education, because ultimately we are very privileged to have that automatically, and they do not. So why do I want to talk about this? I want to talk about this because since the beginning of this year, at the new year, I started to set aside 5% of all of our Patreon funds, and basically at the end of 2019, I'm going to be making a donation and sponsoring a kid. So, so I'm pretty excited about it. And the reason why I'm excited about it is because I actually got the rarest of opportunities to go to Mexico through my work and see what they do firsthand. And it was just all of the feels. It blew me away on so many levels. And even like just almost made me like, you know, in addition to joyful and like a lot of gratitude, just kind of angry and sad, and I don't know, it's just a lot of stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to say that if you are interested in sponsoring our Patreon, 5% of that goes to Project Amigo to sponsor kids so that they can get a good education. And that's what I wanted to kind of plug this the beginning of this episode. Somewhere in this mess, I have a recap.
Yeah.
Is anything happening in anybody's world that's super exciting?
So I remember when you came back from Mexico and you were talking about this project, and I am super down for it. I'm super behind it. But honestly, my favorite part was the banana zip line that they used to get the fruit from the field to the processing.
The zip line, banana zip line.
Yeah.
It was
totally like not relevant to any part of it except for ease of transport.
Right.
But it's super cool.
Wow.
No, it's
They use banana zip lines in the Kachar forest.
Yeah. I mean, now they do. Now they do. Where the fuck is everything? Okay, I found it.
Okay.
Cool. So, to recap last session, as our intrepid heroes take a breath after time's horrifying heartburn, they find a mysterious unmarked care package. After Keth performs a listening ritual, the care package provider reveals himself, and introducing himself as Michaux of the Moonjaw tribe. He almost embarrassingly admits that having the help of outsiders would be embarrassing, but also ideal. Or he senses the sort of wrongness of the Kashar forest right now, although no specifics were really drawn out at that time. So he then shares his worry about that his forest home is in grave danger. He agrees to lead you back to the tribal town of the Blackfang Orcs so that you may help the Orcish peoples suss out the danger that exists. When you arrive, you very much... you don't feel threatened or in danger, nor do you feel welcome. The tribal champion, a hulking kind of brute of an orc in a loincloth named Zeph, greeted you sort of unceremoniously and demanded that Michaux enter the elder tent so that they may speak in private. There was if I recall, there was a little bit of like Keth sort of like protesting his treatment from Zeph. Do I recall that correctly?
Well, no, I just was like, if I'm part of this tribe, why would they want to talk to somebody not part of this tribe over me? The elders, I mean. Right.
Mm-hmm. And so that was left kind of hanging out there. And then when Zeph turned around, they turned around and escorted Michaux away, and they had a dagger in a sheath strapped to the middle of their back on a belt, and actually have that dagger.
What?
Mm-hmm. This would be a good time to like stab it into the table.
Oh yeah, or not.
Table of Ultimate Gamer.
So, because it is in the sheath, I'm only going to just hold it up in the sheath so far right now. So this is this dagger, and I'm going to pass it around. Feel free to don't take it out quite yet, but
yes, please.
Just letting you know that eventually, you'll be able to take it out and you'll be able to kind of look at it. It actually is incredibly functional, so just be careful. It's very sharp.
Oh, I prefer my daggers.
I mean, they gotta be for something. And so there you are left. All, let's see, probably 7 or 8 of you, in this area, as very untrusting eyes are sort of hovering over all of you. Now, I'm going to specifically ask Ashley and Keth, what do you like? What's Keth going through right now, and what do you want to do specifically right now?
What do I want to do specifically? Okay, yeah, can I ask you a specific question?
I'm ready.
Is Romulk still alive? Is she dead?
Well, I can't answer that question because you haven't seen any evidence.
Well, I mean, I wrote in my backstory that she was dead, but last session you were making it sound like she was alive, and that's why I'm curious about what, like, as far as I know, is she alive? Like, or did you change that, like, in your story?
Well, you're back. Okay, so I'm still going to stick with my I don't like you don't know sort of answer, but let me finish. So I will say that Keth knows that Romulk is dead. Like, Keth experienced their funeral, and there was that whole thing going on. So as far as you know, in your past, Romulk passed away. Mm-hmm. There was a ritual, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it was like not very long before I left the forest that she passed. So
yeah,
I guess I would want to kind of.
So you're a little confused, I would say, because Romulk's name was mentioned.
Like she was alive.
It seemed like it.
Well, then I'd want to go talk to people in the village and ask them about that. Be like, I've heard people talking about Romulk as if she walked with us still. Like, can you tell me about that?
And some of the responses, I would say the first few responses are light, if at all verbal. Folks are walking on eggshells around communicating with you, and still you kind of really don't know why. but you can obviously see their eyes sort of flitting to your outsider friends. But there are a couple of actually go ahead and make a persuasion roll. I think in this case it'd be appropriate.
6.
You don't get any solid answers. At one point, you get a sort of you think it's some kind of a head nod with a sort of there's this symbol that the tribes do, and it kind of goes like this, and it stands for the praise of the mycelium, the respect, praise, respect. It's sort of the same thing in orcish language. But there's always that symbol. So you really don't know. No one's giving you a straight answer, and no one's really communicating with you directly.
Okay, well, I feel like I'd be getting agitated then because, Ramold's my mom, so I'd want to know if she was alive.
Right, exactly. And I would say right when you're at the peak of that agitation, so a couple of things are happening. There are a few curious children that are kind of coming into your group and sort of yanking on equipment, sort of almost engaging in a game that you don't know the rules of, a sort of tag or what have you. But ultimately, as you are met with suspicious glares, the children are quite curious about you, and are kind of coming in and attempting to play with them, and in the back of your mind, you kind of almost half expect Sparky to kind of jump in there and play with them, but Sparky is avoiding them like big, and it kind of hits you like a brick that the reason that probably is because they're afraid of accidentally shocking and killing one of them, as they have done once in the past.
Only put them in a coma.
That's totally fair. Coma's totally okay. Totally okay.
Yeah.
I'll come eventually.
But right when you get to, so that's all happening around you. But right when you get at the peak of your frustration, the sort of hide opening of the elder tent opens, and your name is called.
Okay, I walk over there and do the respectful way of going in and entering and everything.
Right.
Okay,
sort of
we'll just say good then.
Horse
Sorry,
whispers
guys. I just found out my mom's kind of alive, and
it's gonna be cool.
I'm not trying to neglect y'all.
We're gonna be okay here.
As I hear kind of hear Ferg as I'm going in, and I just kind of turn and tell them, "I'll be back. You're safe. Don't worry," and walk into the tent.
As you're walking in,
never saw Kath again. And you died. Sorry.
As you're walking in,
Make a death save. No,
you time and let's see, check out everyone's. Yeah. Time and Farron see that there are some guards up on high sort of hillocks up above through the tree line, and in time one of those guards looks familiar. But at the same time, you know that it's just completely logically not possible. That one of them looks like the shining, beautiful face of Morel. And so for our viewers who maybe don't have a sense of who Morel is, why don't you do your best to share who Morel is to time?
You also just said our viewers don't have a sense of morale. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Some morale and ambiguity.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really just looking for some morale support, guys. Please.
The morale of this story is
every morale has a story.
Don't have time for this. Puns for
I
days.
I feel like we have all the time for this.
I'm gonna drink for that one.
Morel, Superman's great grandfather.
Time's job is to sort
what?
out the morale of. No, okay, go ahead.
Good try. So Morel is kind of like this woman when that was like integral in Time's first interaction with the magics, right? Like she came across her like near her hometown and just was. To be honest, like absolutely just like found her alluring and kind of had a crush on her. But she was playful and interesting and ran off into the forest and was like, come catch me. And Time's like, I'll play this game. This thing's fun. But in that process, like Time had her first interaction with the mycelium, kind of like taking a puff of spores to the face, and sort of like that was the first interaction with like the magics and feeling that. And so like feels that maybe Morel led her down that path, like maybe was, you know, almost like equivalent of a mycelium equivalent of like a fae, possibly, but like never saw her again after that, or has only seen her little
like a will-o'-the-wisp
here or there. Like maybe like she's visited her perhaps like a couple times, but it's always been like Time can never be sure whether she's actually there or not.
Yeah.
Or if she ever was real. Hard. Then again, who is really real? What is
But
real?
Farron's seeing her this time too. Is that what you just said?
Excellent question.
I said that they both saw guards on these sort of higher hillocks overlooking the town in this dense forest, but I did not specifically address to Farron that that he saw that it was a non-orcish woman.
Do I see
Because
a
Morel
non-orcish woman?
did occur to you as that, right?
Yeah,
In your-
human woman.
yeah. What's that?
Do I see a non-orcish woman?
No, you very much see an orcish woman.
Oh.
Time starts wandering towards her. Pretty
Okay.
not like wandering sounds less like with a purpose walking towards that.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to say that you're kind
Time's
of meandering
version of
up,
that.
and it's one of those like you don't see an obvious path, and given that
I
you're
never see it.
well, and even more so right now, but also given the fact that you're seeing all these like fragmented pathways, and so it's like I don't know. I don't want to like. You know, like I don't often like say your character feels a certain emotion, but I would say right now, like you feel a little like anxious.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Because you can't really find like, okay, which pathway should I go and how do I get there and this and that, and
I would say like
and the orcs kind of part like the Red Sea. They don't really want to get near you.
yeah. I would say, like in a way, like part of what I'm seeing is that the orcish village, unlike traditional human housing and other things, like which is like we built a house here, right, and then evolved something like that, and, becomes a store or whatever. Like the village itself is organic and constantly moving and growing and shifting, and like the paths are always changing over time. And so like she's literally like seeing this, trying to find a pathway through a growing vine, and it's really complex for her. Perhaps. So she's making her way that way, but it takes. Nobody wants to give her direction.
And so the leather partition sort of parts. And you, what was that? Oh,
Fisher Wolf whistling.
hilarious, yeah.
What is it always?
And so you see you see Zeph standing there, and he steps up to you immediately, wasting no time. While also you see two. You can never really tell the difference between like druids and people who devote themselves to the combat of the body, like you have, for lack of a better term, monks. But there are two other orcs that like sort of flank him, but towards the back, and they're keeping their distance from you. They don't actually seem too concerned about you when you come in. They almost seem to be maybe just like the guards of this particular yurt. And Zeph comes to and you see Michaux kind of in the background and some like big bear rug in the back. And he says, Son of Black Fang, I want to offer you my apologies. I reacted, and while I still feel the same way, this is also very difficult for him to like actually get to this point. You can see him stammering.
Like it's hard for him to apologize.
A little bit. But it's also like you've also known him in the past to be like, he can apologize and like not feel good about it, but also put his ego aside. Like he's absolutely done that before, and it's exactly what he's doing now. The protection of our wonderful and beautiful home is the most important thing to me, and I know in my heart of hearts that you would never bring others here to compromise that.
Honestly, Zeph, I would have not brought them here if it had been up to me, but we crashed in the very heart of Kashar, and I had no choice but to lead them to safety. I couldn't just abandon these people. They protected me in the past, and
you hear a voice in the back that says, "Tell me more of this." And the bear rug starts to move until you realize that it's not a bear rug. It is a massive grizzly bear that shifts its weight to look at you. And this grizzly bear has a series of very noticeable white paint sort of splattered in patterns all over their face. And I would like you to make an intelligence check.
Like an insight or just intelligence?
Just intelligence, yeah. It's a DC. It's pretty fairly simple.
It's not
DC.
real smart, guys.
I know, but
just pretty boy. Ooh. 18.
Yeah, so
smart enough to remember your own history.
I know, right?
Okay, so a little shock comes over you. Those are the exact patterns that Romalg wore on her face.
I instantly fall to my knees and say, "Romalg, can it really be you?"
And the bear says, "In the flesh."
Kat starts to cry. Just full on weepy, ugly crying.
And the bear can't stand up fully. It almost reflexively starts to, but then goes down on its two fronts again. And then you hear it kind of and there's this instinctive quality in you that's like, oh my fucking God, there's a grizzly in front of me. Not not the way that anybody wants to experience a grizzly is right in front of you, and yet you have this these emotions that are pulling at you until finally Romalg says, "I've finally gotten used to my own strength," and she lightly whoa, that's a big bear penis. Romalg's not.
We don't have anything to compare it against. So.
Romalg's not female anymore. And
you mean compared to other bears?
Very as gently as a grizzly bear can, lays their paw, massive, bigger than your head, on your shoulder and your arm. It's good to see you.
Keth looks into her eyes and sees his mother in this bear and realizes that he's less scared all of a sudden. He's like, I have no idea what's going on around me. Clearly the mycelium wants something from me, but at that moment he's like, she can this bear can help me. They are my mother regardless, and they're gonna help me figure this thing out. And so I feel kind of comforted by that.
It sounds like you have a story to tell me.
Yeah, and I kind of just sit crisscross in front of her, respectfully tell her everything that's happened to me since they died, and what I went through when I left the forest, and who I met, who these people are to me, how they've helped me.
Do you mention Burgess?
I do mention Burgess, but I don't. Keth doesn't know Burgess is a vampire, so he doesn't mention that. He just says we have this really weird half-orc friend who has been enslaved by the Phalanstenians for.
Your half-orc friend has dissipated into mist, remember?
well, I'm going to tell the entire story. Like, I will not, like, hold anything back from Ramalg. Like, everything that happened to us, almost verbatim, telling Ramalg, telling her all about you guys, so they understand who you are as people, and that you, like, are honestly here to, like, help, and that you, like, care about, like, the forest, and you care about the mycelium, and you care about me and each other. Like, I'm, like, really just, like, telling her, like, just, like, you, like, think about, like, if you hadn't been able to talk to your parent for, like, how long, and then suddenly, like, they were there again, and you could, like, tell them, like, all this weight that's been on your shoulders, like.
You guys are waiting for a long time.
Cat's going through some emotional labor right now.
Yeah. So, given that, so we'll actually, this is actually an interesting moment. She says, or I guess I'll just say Ramalg says, Michaux made a mistake bringing you all here. But you would have never have known that. There have been others, outsiders, that have been attacking our 3 tribes and doing it in a way that doesn't leave much to track. Quite disconcerting, as you would imagine.
Have you seen these attackers at all? Who is it?
They're shadows. They have not been spotted or seen yet.
Is that why you're back?
I don't know why I'm back.
You didn't do this yourself?
I was reincarnated. By whom or what? Nothing is told me, not even visions, and I still have plenty of those. Hang out. And so I'm gonna break from that real quick. So, Ferg, what are you up to right now? What are you doing?
So, to everyone's surprise, with all these children coming up and like picking at everyone's packs and like grabbing things, Ferg sits down on the ground and pulls out a bunch of stones and like draws a game board in the dirt and tells a very clumsy joke in Orcish.
You can speak Orcish?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And is like, hey, come play with me, because Ferg grew up in an orphanage and is like, oh, past little children, I can handle this. Like, no problem. Like, I'm distracted.
Awesome. So, do me a solid and roll a persuasion check, but I'll allow you to make it. You can either make it charisma based or intelligence based, and you can either do that, or if you have proficiency in a game set, I will allow that as well.
Oh, I don't think I have proficiency in a game set.
Okay, that's totally fair. But so then persuasion it is, but you get to decide whether or not you want to use your intelligence or your charisma.
We'll def be using intelligence.
Okay.
The only smart barbarian around.
17.
17.
Yeah.
So,
that is unusual.
So,
yeah.
Not only do they take to the game, but it you feel like they take to you, and it's a whole lot easier for them to sort of like communicate that kind of a thing to you when you can speak the same language.
Yeah.
So you sort of gain their trust on like multiple levels. Whereas you still kind of keep looking up, like over just occasionally look out and you see the distrusting glares of adults.
Yeah. We know where our friends are.
Yeah. But you're actually remarkably surprised that they trust their children around a human.
I mean, a 10-year-old orc is going to be probably almost as tall as Ferg, so...
Yeah.
That's actually really accurate. I was kind of thinking that. I was like, are these kids taller than Ferg?
Yeah, so Ferg just, like, immediately sitting down on the ground being like, hey, I got stones. We probably know a similar game because, like,
oh, you got stones.
It's actually a really good move because I made it canon. That's how orcs make like a friendship gesture to creatures that are smaller than them. So sitting like down to play with children is actually like the respectful way to get like, but you know, they know you're older, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like in their brains, they're like, oh, you're showing us like respect, like our culture. Cool. Like,
like growing up around like all these, because like all of the fosterlings, I forget the word that I used in my backstory. But all of the kids had to like progressively take over care of more and more children as they got older at the H&M. So,
so you're good with kids.
Yeah,
you're like the whole package, Ferg.
Angry killer who is good with children
and good in bed.
We don't know if good. Probably yes, but at least
with what they get paid. Charging. With what they get paid, they gotta be good.
That's fair.
Wow.
You know?
No one's ponied up yet?
Could attest to that.
Not in this group.
So most of this group can't afford it. Ferg doesn't give it away.
Keth has like a gold and 3 silver to his name or something like that.
Farron can afford it. He just
I'll get you a high five.
Really
But the best damn high five.
So let's see. Where do I want to go? So you're playing with the kids. What are you up to right now? Do you follow time, or do you let them just kind of go off?
Follow time.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a short distance and kind of like.
If anything, it's entertaining.
Yeah, kind of just like. Right, Time's doing her thing.
Yeah.
Because Time is also like taking a very circuitous path through a very like open field with a bunch of people. And she's like,
Time is not linear.
And Farron's just kind of strolling.
While she's doing that, she's like, looking at, Morel, or at least where she thought Morel was.
Yeah, you're getting closer and closer. She still stands there.
I keep going.
Okay, and like a lot of time has passed in the tent, so I'll say that you kind of through this area. We'll say like takes you like a good 10 minutes to like get to this place as you figured you'd be there before that, but it takes you longer, and you finally get there, and it's like you're like shaking. She stands in front of you, with again that sort of like it's almost like the light came out, just to greet her shining face, and she says, "Are you looking for the heart?"
Now that you mention it, yes.
And when you blink just then and look back at her, it's an orcish woman, and she says, "It's back the way you came."
The heart?
And she sort of points to the middle of the town.
Can you show me?
You just came from there. You just walked from.
Thank you. Walks back. But she kind of like looks over her shoulder. It's Morel.
Yeah.
Keep walking away.
Yeah.
She's like playing with her braid and feeling the beads and like the rope designs that she's got. She's like, when am I? It's extra weird for me.
Now, tell me about the beads again. What were they in your hair? What did they signify?
So every day, Time is constantly sort of like adding a new little knot to it. And it's like a date tracking system.
Yeah.
So sort of based off of, I forget the name of the art at the moment, but I think it was in knots.
Oh, the Kipu from the Incas?
Kipu, thank you. Incas, thank you. I was like, it's been a minute since I first looked this up a while back. But yeah, the Kipu from the Incas.
Yeah.
So it's like knots that were used for, they believe, like, a written language in a lot of ways. But also could used for like accounting and, storytelling and other bits. So she kind of does that too. Like she's got beads and trinkets that are like milestones. Like there's one for each of the people here in the group that like she's met.
Right.
Like, so she can kind of quickly, and it's constantly evolving and changing, and there's multiple like strands that are woven together, that are like sort of connected into her hair and like woven into her braids. But she is like using that as like a system for keeping track of when she is, possibly, or a grounding system. It's not always like easy or her like figuring it out, but it's a way of like trying to keep like where am I in a linear universe when she's not linear herself?
Yeah, there's no way you could miss this. There's another knot in that timeline. And the way you have it set up, it's almost as if there's like a gap between, yeah, I can't explain it as good as you can imagine it, so I'm just going to say that there is an inexplicable gap in the next knot that would indicate that you've seen Morel again. Does that make sense?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's
like a missing time almost, or
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
You're
finally just looking at me.
I'm always losing.
Yeah. In the meantime, as you're walking up and you're following, is Feyren sort of following time and just kind of making sure that they kind of stay within the general vicinity?
Feyren tends not to invest himself until there's something abundantly clear to invest in. So he's just kind of following as like a friendly...
Hanging below the time zone.
Yeah, kind of like... Yeah, like... But, like when like...
Can we put a leash on time?
A parent puts like... Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, he's just kind of like... She's got some kind of prerogative going on. I'm just going to follow.
Well, it's funny that you say I'm not going to break away until you see something that you're abundantly clear is like so as you're going up these pathways, time has her singular focus, but your attention sort of wanders and to your periphery, and you just see the most abundant choice in a variety of mushrooms that honestly, like there's a couple of ones that you spot from a distance that you're so familiar with only because they're legendary that you never thought you would see in your lifetime. And suddenly there's like a whole side of like of a hillock that is just littered with them. And it's striking you as just like, oh my God. It's like if you were mining for gold, you just hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
The mother vein.
Yeah.
Like and almost completely untouched. I mean, if they harvest these, they must do it very carefully or in a different way than you're used to, but
So we do it from a zip line.
Mushroom zip line.
I mean, I'm like very distracted now.
Right.
But there's almost like a choice paralysis going on because it's like such.
Yeah,
overload.
but you're a cynophile, so you're definitely going to go towards the mushrooms.
Obsessed
with anything to do with Cybin.
I'm obsessed. But I'm also like in this situation where it's like, well, where would I go first? What would I do next? I mean, I would say that I am extremely distracted. Like I'm not, if this is the case, I'm only like sort of residually following time.
Yeah.
And I might actually like lose track of time very easily. But I
drink for puns.
Well, and that's so I understand where you're going with it, but I will say that
I'm not like inciting it. I'm not going to make you do a thing.
But there's just like a that you're in a very safe space, and so there's no hurry to get there.
And I don't even. And it's like if I saw one of these mushrooms,
right,
I probably would have gone to it. But since there's so many and so many different kinds, it's like. A, there's no rush, because obviously everybody knows they're there, and they're not harvesting them. And B, like, where would I go first? I'm just, like, totally dumbstruck.
Choice paralysis.
So, I'm definitely not really perceiving what's going on with time right now, and choice paralysis, and also just, like, sort of, I mean, I probably have, like, a shit-eating grin on my face, like, just, like, really excited about it, but also just, like, maybe the gears are turning, like, I wonder how I could grab some of these to leave, but then I'm also like, but no one leaves the Kishore forest. Like,
Not with our mushrooms.
I'm so glad I'm here. I've gone farther and seen more than, like...
Best vacation.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that a little bit.
I'll leave you with the last thought that just almost kind of invades your brain, like not of your volition. It's almost like there was that little bit of a just missing the stepping stone.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that. I was feeling that as you were saying that, just sort of like, I wish my staff were here. Like, yeah. I wish they could.
Then I could get them on this.
Like, or just like some of the people that have like grown the business with me and like been with me for so many years. Right. They'd love to see this, and just kind of feeling that like a little bit of loneliness for my family, essentially. Like, and that's maybe the first time I felt that way on this whole trip.
For Yanator.
Yeah, for Yanator.
There's a tiefling.
Janiger. I remember when I first said his name that I said it in his accent, Janiger, and it was like really garbled, and so you were like, seriously, Bill, the janitor.
Yanitor.
Yanitor.
So as to not
reference,
insult the janitor community.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's not the case.
Yeah, it's great.
Scrubs reference.
Okay, so back to you.
Yes.
So, any response to what Romulg last said?
She basically told me that she just like was reincarnated, right?
Yes.
I think I would say something to the effect.
And she doesn't know why.
I think I would say something to the effect of the mycelium does work in mysterious ways. I'm sure there's a reason you're back. Regardless of that, though, I'm so glad to see you.
I'm grateful to be here. And she gives you a bear hug.
Oh, I totally just melt into it.
Roll a death save.
Unfortunately, you now have fleas, but we'll talk about that later.
That's fine. Okay. And I just basically tell her, like, I really would love for you to meet my friends. I think that you would be very interested to talk to Farron. He is a great leader, and he has been in contact with the mycelium in a way that I never heard of anyone else being. And I think he might have some of the key information we need to figure out what they need from us.
Flushed outside.
If he could share his experience with you, you might be able to glean more from it than any of us have so far. Because honestly, like, I'm at a loss, Romulg, and clearly they need something from us, and they chose this elf to speak to us.
And
you're an elf, right?
Her bear gaze just kind of goes
just asked that.
to Michaux, back to Zeph, back to you. And
then I say, like, Mother, you know I wouldn't do anything to harm our people.
I know you wouldn't.
Farron is a good person. He has proven his love to the mycelium as well as nature. He respects the Kishar greatly.
In our tribe, and the tribes of the Moonjaw, the Ironbacks, he has proven nothing.
But he will prove himself if you give him the chance. I put my honor on him.
Whoa.
You don't know I'm saying this.
No, I don't.
You feel it.
All of a sudden you're like,
wait.
Why am I heavy?
Somebody's emotional burden again.
God damn it.
There's all this pressure. Maybe I should just do mushrooms. That's awesome. So Romulg says, do you know there's a reason why we don't just trust outsiders?
Yes. And I've learned that harshly from being on the outside.
Do you know the story of, let's see.
Bear goes to the bookshelf and pulls off.
The bear goes to the bookshelf. Yeah, no, there is definitely a bookshelf.
Somehow miraculously organized.
Yeah, recently.
Well, we're in a different town.
Fisher, that creeped me the fuck out. I just saw the door like slowly opening and then a hand really came in and I was like, oh,
Fisher.
I mean, logically I knew it was Fisher, but at the same time,
some
like,
crackers?
Are you hungry?
I'm all
I
right.
have this whole box of Triscuits.
I will have some.
Trichinocophobia, the fear of Triscuits.
We're 13.
Just quoting Friends and being weird.
Give me a moment. I'm trying to
Get ready to play Bamboozled.
I said Triscuits, but they're wheat thins.
talk amongst yourselves.
Not the same thing.
All right.
Totally different crackers.
I
We
don't
can edit this
actually
part out,
like
Bill, don't
wheat
worry.
thins very much.
I like them both.
They were free.
I'm not worried about it.
My parents, however, were very like one or the
Polarized.
other.
Do you need another beer?
I'm
You
into
good?
Triscuits.
Does anybody need a
I'm
beer
into
while we're on a
Triscuits.
pause?
Yes.
Beer?
I
Anybody?
mean, it's like
I'm good.
I have one in the
chewing on
queue.
a
I suppose.
basket.
You gotta queue up.
I have
Finely
2 drink
woven
day.
straw.
Whatever
What are
you
you
got.
doing?
It's my Friday.
There's a lot in
Delicious.
here.
Cool.
There's lots of flavors.
Some of those cool
The black
Leo.
pepper one's good.
Got a pink
Rosemary
elephant on it. It
one's
seems very
rosemary.
timely to me.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Dill
delirium
pickle.
tremens. Oh my
Whoa.
The dill pickle one is good.
Is this okay?
That's an insanely high alcohol
You're gonna get drunk.
Belgian
It's
beer.
Did I
amazing
not give
and
him
strong.
that one? I'm sorry.
You already
Did I-
did.
First
Yeah.
off, have you met me?
I know. Have you met Will?
We're asking, like, is that somebody's specific beer? I wasn't trying to be.
No, it's
I mean,
actually
I don't
been,
wanna talk about
it's
the
actually
elephant
been
in the room
in
and all,
the
but-
fridge for a while, so it's up for grabs.
Guys, it's only 8.5. Let's do this.
Yeah.
This much is alcohol.
It tastes like.
Do you want another prismatic?
Please. yes.
While we're waiting, you guys have any
Do you need anything
rumors
to
to
drink?
talk about?
Actually, let's get into that a little later. I know.
Rumor has it.
On camera?
Oh, I haven't thought of any
No,
yet.
thank you, Bill.
Take a one.
Me neither.
Okay,
I got like
Michaux subtly positions more closely toward Keth, just as a
Like-
sign of support.
Like you're literally standing with me.
Oh,
So Ramolg says, speaking with this voice is rather difficult in long bursts.
Mhm.
And I would ask Michaux to tell the story of our caution towards outsiders. And I'm going to hand you this.
Fantastic.
And this is one of those moments where Keth like knows he's heard this story like 100 times, but like is also aware that Ramolg is trying to teach him a lesson, so he's respectfully listening.
So from here to here,
You know what I
Don't
mean?
read
Those
that.
parent moments.
totally.
but you're going to be
Don't
reading.
read from there to there.
Mom,
correct, you're
still
gonna be reading
repeating
all this.
yourself.
Oh, this is that old one, Mom.
Not that, and then finishing it off with that.
You got it. Oh my god.
I think you need 2 fingers to scroll.
No.
Yeah, 2
Is that
fingers.
right? Oh,
Yep.
gosh.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, there you go. Arrows. You got it. I wasn't reading the story.
You
Don't
have to
worry.
scroll with the shocker picture.
Please, Michaux, tell the story.
Glasses.
Mike's in my way.
He says, "You can put down the book. Allow me to recite."
By the way, there was no book.
That was a joke.
Oh.
Yeah, that was exactly.
That was
Now there
tongue-in-cheek.
was a joke, retcon.
Bears can't hold.
What?
Not with that attitude.
Winnie the Pooh?
Oh God, I can't. The pages.
Come on, it's a fantasy game. My God.
Do you like rip the book open? It's like in
That's
6
too
pieces.
far.
I'm going to design a book that bears can hold and read.
Okay.
I love you.
That's your new aspect.
You mean Fergus?
Yeah.
Both.
So tell me about your senior thesis. Well, I felt there was a disparity between animals couldn't hold books. So I sought about to correct this. Started with bears, because why not?
Okay, the floor is Daniel's.
Or bears.
Our visions of certain groupings of the mycelium have always caused us to take heed one way or the other when it comes to the safety of the Red Sun tribes. In fact, there are strong feelings lending credence to the belief that the mycelium has taken to organizing themselves in tribes. There has only been 2 times in orcish history where our visions consisted of mycelium from the Corticala
The
tribe.
Corticala. Yeah, it's hard to say, but
One such time was during the Demon Wars, as the dwarves, along with their elven allies, pushed forth attempting to contain the demon threat to our beloved Terra Sentia. You know that the Red Sun tribe aided dwarves in their demonic battle, as best we could. A scribe of ours took home a story of a brave and stalwart serviceman of the First Wing named Captain Balak Embershard. An influential and inspiring paladin whose stories, that's the orcish pronunciation, by the way. An influential and inspiring paladin whose stories are still regaled to this day, inspiring young dwarfs near and far. A story that isn't widely told is his fall from grace, dishonoring his wing and his clan in the name of Lilyhammer Dynasty. It was only afterwards that these painful facts were revealed to him by a demon bent on ensuring his suffering. Captain Embershard knew going back, facing his people's justice was the honorable thing to do, and yet also knew that this impurity that has influenced him for who knows how long would very well still be with him. Balak surrendered himself to us in the hope that we could wash away the vile taint that has stained his soul, and that we did. There still wasn't enough to repair the damage that his own personal code and integrity suffered. In short, his heart was broken, and in his mind unable to be retired. He ventured to Kragst, took his own life by wandering into a now unknown patch of fungi, bonding with him for eternity. The greatest vision of shamans saw the connection between Balak and the Corticala tribe. Then, it is only now, over a century later, that we receive the Corticala visions. Once again, it cautions us against outsiders and their influence.
So you see, we received these.
So,
Can I ask an OOC character question really quick?
well, let me say one detail about like the these sort of visions. So orcs, when they go into their visionary state, they very much use mycelium to do that. And the symbols that they receive within their visions, they almost interpret it like a tarot deck, So, and a lot of the certain genus or tribes of the types of mushrooms and mycelium that they get tell them something, like give them direction to interpret the vision. And so basically there's only been 2 times in the history of orcish visions that they've ever seen any visions from the Corticala tribe. That one with the paladin, and now.
So someone in the orc tribe is getting a vision from the Cortical tribe.
That someone is me, my dear.
But this is an OOC character question. Is that the tribe that contacted Farron?
Oh, wait.
They're the Cantarella.
Oh, the Cantarelli.
Cantarella.
Cantarellas.
Cantharella.
So I'm gonna basically say that, like yes, I know the story, Ramalg, and I respect our history, and I hear what you're trying to tell me, but the Cantharella tribe has reached out to our Farron Lycanstep and requested his help in protecting the heart, and something about making a spiral into a disc so that they can be whole again. And I don't think the Cantharella tribe, did I say that right? Would reach out to him if he wasn't important in making sure that whatever is happening negative in this forest could be fixed. I don't know if I just said it in a sentence, but that works.
That works.
Make a persuasion check.
God damn it, I'm not persuasive.
You're trying to persuade people.
It's a crit miss, everybody.
You have inspiration.
I don't have any alcohol. I don't have any inspiration.
It is.
That's a 0.
It is not me you have to prove that to. It is the whole of our people. I have something for you. something for all of you. Michaux will take you to the area in which the Great Green exists, and you can deal with the problem yourself with all of your companions.
What is the Great Green, Mother?
It's a new visitor to our forest. A green dragon.
Oh, we're fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Just make so many drug references over here. I'm sorry. I'm like trying so hard to have like a serious conversation with my mother over here.
And
That was good. Chase that dragon.
Ramog.
Smoking weed with you and me.
She's looking at you.
Yes, I shall.
Yeah.
But what of the ganglia? We were attacked again by the ganglia.
The quarter kraken has been following us through the forest.
As it does.
It may have followed
We
us
must-
here. We just thought we would warn you.
We have wards that drive it away. We need not worry about it.
Learn those words and bring them out.
Wards?
But
Is there a way you
Maybe
could help
that
ward
would-
us against it so we can travel without it following us?
It doesn't work that way. You must be stationary in order for us to ward you. And
So this is OSC again, so there's not like a way they ward themselves when they like are moving between locations?
correct.
Okay, so they just have to kind of be like, don't keep
Ward
your eye on your
in
children.
place.
Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on your children and
Or the quarter kraken will get you.
stay together. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also legitimately.
It's like the boogeyman growing up.
Like, except it's for real. Like,
Well.
it will 100% get you.
Yeah.
Well, in the fantasy
it's
world,
boogeyman.
boogeymans exist, so.
Yeah. So there you
Yeah.
go. Perfect.
Like
I was gonna say,
Boogeyman's a
Boogeyman
stranger.
will get you.
What'd you say?
Yeah, it's like we write stories about the boogeyman so you don't go away with a stranger and their creepy van.
Yeah.
Except stranger kidnapping is super rare.
So is quarter kraken childy.
So probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I think
Bad.
Connor
I was
was more
never
making
good
the
at bait.
point that it's usually somebody you know that kidnaps a kid.
Yeah.
Like stranger kidnapping is like stranger danger is not.
Stranger danger is more like neighbor danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friendly
More
person
like
you kind of know
parent
danger.
Yeah, we're like
Oh, shout out to
strange
Kyron.
uncle danger.
Oh, God.
Question mark. Not saying parent.
So Romulg says,
you have an opportunity to show our tribe that your friends are trustworthy. There's a long history of humans being the exact opposite, and they must show us otherwise. There's just no other way around it.
I completely agree with you,
Ty's
Romuald.
making
And
a great
not that it
impression.
matters much to the people in general, but I would like you to know that the friends I brought with me, save for the ones that I couldn't help but save, that are not actually my friends, are not from Faustine.
So
they're
it's
from the human. They're from the mixed. What would you call the cities where that's like people are like all intermixing? Like they're not humans, right? They're from like the more progressive cities that are out there on the
Diverse.
outskirts of Kashar, the more diverse cities.
who are you actually referring to? When you're
I'm
talking
referring
about-
to my actual peeps that I'm like traveling with.
Right.
We're
not,
cool.
Not
Those guys
my
I
like
don't know.
people that I
Those
just
guys
like.
are cool.
Yeah, like these guys, like
LA.
I kind of like had to save because they survived this crash.
Right.
But these three people are my friends, and I'm vouching for these three people. Is kind of what I'm saying. Like these three people are chill. They like orcs. They like the mycelium.
Show told me of the Valenstein woman.
I do not like her, mother. I'm not gonna lie, but I could not bring myself to hurt her when she has not actually done me any ill will. Not that I know of.
I'm not there.
She tried to sell me, but I don't know that.
Damn.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, she tried to sell me. No big deal.
Yeah, she's a racist bitch.
Wait. I'm sorry. Did you actually say? Because Michaux's standing right next to you. Did you actually just go? She tried to sell me.
Yeah. No, Keth doesn't know that at all. Like, if Keth knew that, he wouldn't have even, like, tried to help her through the Kashar. You know what I
actually
mean?
Totally fair. Yeah.
Yeah. He would have been like, I'm not letting you near my people. You tried to fucking sell me into slavery. Like, I'm not gonna let you near any other orcs. But,
Where the people
Sorry.
are most worried about her.
if you have a way to escort her back to the grave scar, I think that might be a good option for our people. Just kick her out of the forest. We don't have to let her die, but we don't have to let her stay with us either.
You give me much more credit to my power. No orc can do that for anyone.
I mean, I made it out of the forest.
You are orc,
That's fair.
despite your
Taint.
despite your human heritage. You have our blood in your veins, and our rituals bond to that blood.
This canon, orcs do not have taints.
But I'm also going to
It's an
say
extra
that,
taint,
like, this
actually.
is
Okay, got it.
somebody that
Sorry.
Ramalg had
Double taint.
sex with to produce Kath.
Oh, Ramolg's not my biological
Yep.
mother.
Oh,
Ramolg raised me.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
My biological
Nix
mother
that.
dipped after I'd been born for a week to go back to my father who was being released from his indentured servitude, and they were supposed to come back for me, and they didn't. So I don't know what happened to them.
Never
Find
mind.
out.
That's why Keth left the forest.
Yeah,
Terribly.
real mom.
Ramolg is my real mom, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's your view.
Not
Mhm.
bio.
Do you accept this quest?
I readily do, but I would never make a decision for other people. I must ask my fellow adventurers, and I can't very well ask the people that we saved to come with us if they're not willing, because frankly, they're civilians. They just crashed in a ship in the middle of the forest, and I don't even really know much about them or what their skill set is. I wouldn't ask them to go into a dangerous situation, but my friends that I started off with, I know could handle the situation, and I'd love to present it to them. But regardless, Ramalg, I will go by myself if needed. This will happen. I will make this quest.
You know you would never survive. You need folks like them.
Let me go talk to them. Respectfully. Michaux,
You said that.
I said, what?
We need
she totally did.
Axes.
Again, you don't have to convince me. You have to convince us.
Indeed.
Well, shall we prove it to them then? You've seen my friends in combat.
We will try.
Hands off. I've got sick moves.
Not kind of mic drop time,
We're
Bill.
brief moment. My mic just dropped.
Your mic got sad.
Yeah. Could you hand me put your hand right under here?
Yeah, definitely.
Hold it up.
Give me a hand.
Thank you.
Always down to help a friend in need. Give a hand.
This definitely counts as technical difficulties.
This is why editing exists.
No, this is 100% going on.
Raw.
Do you want me to?
I need you to hold.
Raw
Yes,
and
sir.
uncut.
Isn't this a satisfying problem to have, though?
Yeah.
This is fixable by
Yeah.
comparison.
I mean, really.
A mechanical.
Like a vice error, yeah. Like, let me just
Let me just
screw in this vice.
re-vice
If there's
this.
anything
Yeah.
Bill knows how to deal with, it's vice. Thanks. I got a giggle hiccup out of that one.
What have I been watching recently? It's all like Shazam. That had like a lot of Seven Deadly Sins stuff in it.
Yeah.
I just watched it last night. That's why I'm like, watch it.
Look how easy that was to fix. Technology.
Man, I'll tell you what.
And then it just like falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explodes.
Not just falls apart, but like crumbles into dust, and you're like,
Avengers levels.
You try
Too
and
soon.
do one too hard.
Also tonight.
Okay. Where were we? So
So what did she say this thing was called? The first, what was like, what did she call it?
she called it the Great Green.
The Great Green.
So Ramalg shares with you that this is a more recent threat that none of the tribes have been able to sort of get a handle on as of late. As a matter of fact, the Moonjaws have been sort of surprisingly absent from the conversation, even. And she explains that why that's surprising. Why that's surprising is because they've been the Great Green is threatening the Moonjaws more than any other tribe. Like it's closer to the Moonjaws, and you know, and you would agree that it's closer to the Moonjaws. whether or not you answer, one way or the other as to, I mean, Ramalg is actually like surprisingly like, she just says that right in front of you. She doesn't care if she insults you.
Oh, well, I have character. I'm sort of an outlier even from my own tribe.
That's fair.
I roam free, do my thing, do it well, but I'm not like part of the tribe's defense force or their like inner workings, really.
What would you classify yourself as in terms of how you see yourself fit into the Moonjaw tribe?
Oh,
and this is obviously like meta knowledge, but like just I find it interesting.
He goes places in advance. He goes to the periphery. If there's danger further out, he's the first to know about it and the first to report it.
Right.
One of those. But like it's really his place in the tribe to know more of the forest, places where new mushrooms are popping up. These animals venture, those don't. To provide more resources, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. But more, he takes it upon himself to guard like the forest itself more than the tribe. Really, he sees the forest as the life source.
So you were almost born a Moonjaw, but don't necessarily consider yourself like wholeheartedly loyal to the Moonjaws as much as you do the Red Sun tribes as a whole.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the Black Fang understands that, which is why I'm like allowed to be here now.
Perfect. And actually that would make so much sense as to why Ramalg is so blatantly almost, I don't know, there's no way to get around it, but Ramalg sort of like insulting of the Moonjaws. There's a little bit of a tone that displays they've done nothing and that's sort of unacceptable.
Well, I'm totally deferential to Ramalg anyway. Yeah, I would not even like call her out on that.
I mean, and clearly you agree if you're actively trying to do the opposite of what your tribe's doing. Like you agree that there needs to be action taken, right?
Oh yeah,
because you're doing the action.
Speak to your companions. I'll be in here.
But this is OOC. Do I need to check in with her before I leave? Well, I don't know. Do I need to check in with you before I leave, Ramalg?
Zeph actually says
it would be preferable.
Then we shall. Shall I come alone, or would you like me to bring my friends with me?
Alone would be preferable.
Good. Anyway, so I go back out and I find everybody. And is Michaux coming with me?
Michaux is coming with you, unless you have anything to say about that.
I want to scratch Ramalg's back so bad.
Just give her a little scratch before we leave.
I don't know if that'd be don't though. I don't know if we're that friendly.
I actually would doubt that you're that friendly.
I like lightly, like gently pat her head before I leave.
Although Zeph offers an ear.
Maybe in there.
No, he doesn't do that. So as you're coming out of the yurt and greeting everyone,
Anna is laying down in the middle of the village for like the heart, like she's trying to just connect.
Right.
They're not laying down, but like she's doing the crisscross applesauce, like is kind of doing her own, like trying to connect back to the mycelium, connect back to the magic and sense the heart.
Right.
What else we find?
Time and Theron, you're very much picking up that while the orcs don't necessarily, there's distrust in their eyes, and but when they look at Lucy, when they're looking in her direction, there is a deep disdain.
Me too. That's fine.
Yeah,
I feel you, brethren. I feel you.
Farron doesn't feel like he needs to do anything.
Yeah.
Her fate is in her hands.
Just something that you notice.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I basically tell them what Ramalg told me. This. What's the other tribe called?
The Ironbacks?
No. The other
Moonjaw?
mushroom tribe.
Oh, the Cortaceala.
Cortaceala. So I'm basically going to say I know the Cantharella tribe spoke out to you, but the
Cortekiala
tribe has spoken to the orcs, to Ramalg specifically, my parent, and has informed them to not trust outsiders.
At the mention of the Cortekiala tribe, new way of thinking about it, but go ahead and roll a knowledge nature.
Anybody?
I would say...
I mean, we're not going to roll.
No. I would say, yeah, no, why not?
8.
This is a tribe.
15.
This is a tribe that you are not readily familiar with. You've heard like vague. You've heard vague, sort of negative things, like dangerous things about the tribe, but they've primarily existed inside of the Kashar, so you've not really.
It's starting well. Yeah.
But what did you get?
We weren't
14.
banished.
Okay, so
our friends
and
killed.
15 for
Ferg.
Mother's not going to banish me?
I would say,
hope.
Ferg, you're the only one that's really familiar with the Cortekiala tribe. They often infect wood and other plant matter to survive and propagate. They're very parasitic in nature.
Was that like the weird glowy ones we saw in the middle of last episode when we?
Ding ding.
Yeah, the ones that you burning smell.
I have a sample. Those.
Yes, that were growing under the roots, and then like we couldn't touch them.
And it's known to find itself invading sentient plant life, like treants, like shambling mounds, that kind of thing, blights.
Shambling mounds.
Yeah.
We just killed. Oh, that was on the Saturday game. I was like, I feel like we just killed some.
So, but the thing that you're unclear about, and I'm going to leave this up to you as a player to sort of share this with the others. But the thing that you're sort of like mulling over and unclear about is the fact that when, so they all had those sort of like, what did you call them?
Ganglia?
Yeah, they had that sort of like ganglia thing sort of like attached to them, and it was almost like as if it was a heart, but the heart kind of stretched out and like controlled the appendages.
Yeah.
And that reminded you all of a sort of a more advanced, mature version of what came out of your body.
Yeah, I know.
And the confusing part is that you're almost positive that potentially came from the consumption of the chanterelles, which is part of the Cantharella tribe, and that's supposed to not really
because we all
happen.
ate it.
That's yeah, you did. You all ate it except for Lucy.
Fine, yeah,
yep, exactly.
The thing is, parasitic fungi also prey on other fungi. So if the Cortekiala are parasitic, they could be
attacking the Cantharella.
So that theory, while that would remain true in smaller patches of fungi, do you remember when I described that it was such a large and verdant patch of the? That's where that theory kind of falls flat, is that you have all of the mushrooms that are sort of like building up almost like a defense mechanism, biological defense mechanism, like greater in numbers kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that would make sense if it was just a small patch, but because it was such a large patch, it doesn't make sense that creature came from such a, I don't know, for lack of a better term, benevolent and benign eating mushroom.
We'll be doing some experiments on the sample that we got.
A large patch called a guild?
Yes.
Yes, I did not know that.
A grouping of mushrooms?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that is called a guild.
Yeah.
A murder of crows, a guild of mushrooms.
Yeah,
a lot of things that are a grouping have their own name. I think that's great.
Yeah.
That came up today.
Like a gaggle.
A guild of mushrooms, like that's pretty.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost as awesome as a blessing of unicorns.
Yeah. Right.
Sloth of beers. Sloth of bears.
Sloth of bears.
A quiver of cobras.
So I wanted to kind of bring that up as a concept, as you mentioned the Cortekiala, like.
So the Cortekiala was what was trying to get into us, was like asking us to let them in. That was the Cortekiala.
Here we go. Question mark.
Ferg thinks maybe so, but isn't quite sure.
Right, and Ket's like asking you that, like,
Yeah.
wait, like
they're parasitic. They definitely like to take over things mentally and physically. But you have that many together of another like set of mushrooms, like they're going to be a lot safer. So
The voices
Bad mushrooms.
that came and sort of invaded the
Them in.
you while not many people here would be able to pinpoint where the like what tribe that voice came from, you can. And it was from the Cantharella tribe. Equally confusing.
so the Cantharella tribe was what was trying to spring out of our bodies.
That's what the voice sounded like.
But they were just acting kind of like the Corticoli tribe.
All right.
A little bit.
So they were outside of their normal nature, being parasitic in nature, and that's what's confusing about this.
Are we saying the Corticella is like more of the harbinger of bad things, or the bad things themselves?
It sounds like they're the good informants.
Well, I mean, if you believe our history, they're more of a harbinger than the actual bringer of it.
Just trying to be clear there. Guess they are around when really bad things happen. No.
I mean, that's the nature of a harbinger.
Doesn't mean they bring the bad things.
And yes, the crow does not bring the storm, but
But the point
it
is that this
possible
tribe
doing
told them
any arcane research on the mushroom sample that Ferg got. Like,
It is possible, but it would take a significant amount of time and a decent amount of
we got a
equipment.
whole time right here.
Yeah.
see what they've got around the village and chat about it, or we'll keep it with and we'll figure it out from there. But
Who do you approach to ask about that?
I would absolutely go to Keth and be like, if you seem to be the one to
Yeah.
communicate and
I'll point you towards
respectfully.
our like alchemists and
Yeah.
like I'll go with you to talk to them and be kind of like, hey,
I
so
would
this
appreciate
thing
that.
happened to us and my friend Time here has like a sample and we were wondering if you could help us glean anything from it. But before we do that, I want to like basically tell them about the green that we're going to be going after and ask them if they'd be interested in helping to prove themselves.
Okay, so
the works.
we'll get to the sort of testing of that
Mhm.
in a little bit.
I just didn't want to completely derail because we like got distracted
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like really quickly.
there was a bit of a derailment, but
Yeah.
You're on track now.
So basically, I tell you guys about everything, not 100% everything, but I tell you basically like the Cantharella is asking for our help, your help, outsiders' help. The Corticoli is telling the orcs not to trust outsiders currently. And the Kashar Forest is under attack. The Moonjaws in particular seem to be the most at peril by something that they are calling the Great Green. And if we were to travel forward and help dispatch this threat, we would prove I could help prove your worth. You could prove your own worth to the orc people. And they'd be more likely to let us in so we can work together on this problem with the Mycelium is clearly trying to reach two different sets of people about we need to we can find a way to bring this together so we can all collectively work towards the same goal instead of doing it like separately and making everything harder on ourselves. I think if we prove this, we can make that happen.
Yes.
can I interject like maybe a thought that one of you just had? Maybe. I'm not attached to it. And that is Great Green. How hard could that be?
Are you going to ask what the Great Green is?
Notwithstanding, you really don't have a choice.
Baron's confused. They want us to go to the Great Green to prove our worth to them or something.
They don't trust you, to put it blandly. They
So how about going to the Great Green?
if you show that you mean the Kashar help and that you want to help the orcs, you have to realize humans in the past have been our greatest destruction. They are the reason our tribes are now 3 and not 13. They are the reason that we hide and run our entire lives. It's not easy for us to bridge that gap. So an act of valor, an act of friendship, an act of proof that you're on the same side will make great strides in proving to orcs as a whole that you mean them well and not ill.
I totally get that part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what the Great Green is or why we're going there.
It's a dragon.
Is it?
According to Ramal, it's a dragon.
So we are told.
So we're told. Again, it hasn't This is so hard to explain to
We have to
outsiders.
defeat a dragon?
A literal dragon, or
It's like a
Figurative dragon.
it's like a literal and a figurative dragon in a way.
Has Ferg heard anything about this in
We're all there.
readings? No, just
Oh, wow.
like
Can
in the
I
past.
roll? Can
You
we
have
roll
not.
like a pat? Like okay,
Not from their knowledge point of view. Not from the information that you've been given. Nothing about this seems familiar. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's see. Go ahead and roll a knowledge history. This is a fairly difficult roll, so I'm just warning you. But yeah.
Can I get in on that?
Because Ferg specifically asked, I'm gonna say
stupid plantain chips.
just Ferg.
no amount of help.
I'm actually gonna burn an inspiration for that. Ferg wants to know what the fuck this thing is.
Maybe move the chips.
or don't roll towards them.
17.
Better.
You still don't know. You still, there is some kind of a story that you heard. As a matter of fact, that's probably why you didn't retain it, is because you didn't read it. You actually heard it from
There's
someone.
like bar.
Can I try to roll to see if I know anything more about the Great Green to explain to them?
I would say that you can, but at a disadvantage.
Okay. Is it a history check as well?
It is a history check. But wait, okay. So are you talking about this out loud? Like I don't even know why I said no to you, Will. Go ahead and roll a knowledge history. I honestly don't know. You're still at a disadvantage, however, for reasons.
Yeah, Ferg would have been like, maybe I heard something in the last bar I was in.
Same as Berg.
Yeah.
I got an 8.
Yeah. This is a
Rolled the 17
very,
on the other one.
the only thing you have to draw off of is that what Ramalg said, this is a very new threat to them.
Michaux, where are the Moonjaw right now? Why are they at threat? Where's the Great Green?
They would be currently encamped in the Valley of the Spire.
Just make that up. I love it.
Yes.
Cool. That's real good. No,
That was good. I liked it
And
too.
real solid.
so,
Well, it's
valley,
No take backs.
the Valley of the Spire.
we call it thus because of a really tall, spiky, pointy tree.
Oh, great. Yeah. I figured.
So
Opposed to the other.
here, let's see if I can do this. So here you are,
The Valley of the Funny Looking
and so where they're saying, sorry, I'm looking at this backwards now, and now I'm all confused. That's not funny, Fisher.
It's a little funny.
Okay, it's a little funny.
I just like Fisher's laugh.
Also, Bill's making it funnier.
So the Moonjaw tribe exists in this area, and they kind of move around. It is very far, but the Valley of the Spire is somewhere around here, like this area.
Cool.
So they'd be like theoretically in that village right up there that you were circling.
Theoretically.
Okay.
So how long
I think-
will it take to get there?
That's where this Great Green is.
Yes.
Do the orcs do your people have a way of transporting us there?
Banana zip lines.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said banana zip lines again. I was joking though.
There was that type of mushroom that we ran across that allowed for faster travel through. I remember.
I don't know many druids who can take people with them in that means of travel, but we can try to see if someone in the village can help us in that way to make our travels quicker. Michaux might know better than I'm not trained in those arts.
The short answer is no. That is not possible.
Somebody in the village named Uber. We can call up and pick us up and take us there.
Uber?
Uber.
Excuse me, Uber. If only we
I
had
thought
another
that was pretty
airship.
good. Thank you.
Ooh, bear.
His brother Lifed. You know, also help us out. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
The way is long, but we have much to discuss.
It's a gig economy in Sharport.
Do we
Ferg
not?
prefers to take the older one called Humabul.
That's good. I'm down to talk about stuff.
Tazzy.
So the research on that sample, could that be done on the road if I brought the equipment with us? It would take a really long time, but
Probably not.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt you to learn a few words of Orcish.
Before we get to the Moonjaw.
I don't need to learn it.
Things.
The Moonjaw are even
Time just sat
closed
there
and more
she
closed in
goes
their
like,
ranks to outsiders than the Iron, and then the
I
Black
can
Things
understand
are.
it now. Like she basically like mutters something in a little bit of like picks up some soot, kind of mutters a little bit, and kind of like sticks it in her ear. She's like, I can understand it now.
We can't say it back.
I love how your Eldritch rituals are just as weird as you.
Yeah.
Like as in like time as a character.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great.
it's kind of a goal.
And they all involve like you getting dirty in some way.
Clean stuff up. She's still very very proper. But yeah, thanks.
So, are you down, friends, for this adventure? Can we
As,
make it happen?
as our friend said, what choice do we have?
Well, we
it is
can
a
also
beautiful
wander
forest.
aimlessly and try to get out of the forest.
A
But
wonderful place to live.
Because I've heard of so many people who that's worked out for.
I mean, I wasn't saying it. I was just putting it out there. I would never force you to do something you were not prepared to try.
I have had a thoroughly wonderful time in this forest, except for one moment. I'm down
have I.
to see what the mycelium holds for us. Do this.
And I would like to create very tight-knit bonds with your people and this forest and all that is held within. For reasons.
I would like this for you as well. You have proven yourself.
For reasons.
Farron never over farm anything.
No,
And that is why I vouch for
no, not at all.
Sustainable farming.
But Farron has been very clear since the beginning of this entire journey that his interest lies in learning how to get in and out of the Kashar forest and all that it holds within.
Yes, definitely.
Never not felt that way.
Ferg is like, these kids clean me out of trinkets, so I gotta go win some more somewhere else anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to basically be like, okay, before we go, if there's anything y'all need to do in the village, I can help direct you in the right spot. It might be better if you went with me in Michaux somewhere just so people will be more comfortable interacting with you, but we
Osho.
got you.
Oh,
I
show
would like to buy some arrows.
Could we perhaps leave the sample with some of your alchemists in the here so that they could be working on it and studying it while we were gone?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure Michaux could take you and have a better conversation with the alchemist than I.
Yes.
If you'd like to take time, she is very knowledgeable in these arts, and I think
Very
that she'd have a lot to
good
talk to with the alchemist.
You collected the sample.
You would know that alchemists, from Time's point of view, are very different from alchemists from Orcs' point of view.
Why would I know that? I'm an orc.
Because you've seen Rosax and other cities like that, and you get a sense that the way they sort of
We're like hedge witches.
examine things, a little bit, yeah. So
I'm gonna. Well, yeah, I'll let Time know that. I guess
Yeah.
our methods might not be the same as yours, but we do have a way of gleaning information from things we find.
I'm only looking for the end result. I care not about the methods.
I would like arrows and as many torches as is comfortable to carry.
All right, I'll take Farron over to the weaponsmith and help deal. We only do a barter. We don't have like a monetary system.
That's cool. I got stuff.
I've got
I got some mushrooms they've never seen.
We've got
Yeah,
some
there you go.
six.
So get you bartering for some arrows. Get you doing some
Can
alchemy.
I buy all the things?
okay. So are you
produced
attempting
flame.
to get involved in
You
this
produced flame?
alchemical
I have
process?
a torch right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So who do you go with, Michaux or Kat?
Comes in handy.
You can pick, honestly. I don't mind.
True.
I mean, I would say Michaux probably. Like Michaux seems to be more like connected currently to the group, right?
So who is doing the talking and the explaining?
Of this,
Yeah.
I guess I would have to well, you can understand.
I can
right?
understand, but
I might have to speak the Orcish.
I'll listen and then talk to you and expect you to translate.
If you by chance speak Gnomish, a lot of orcs speak Gnomish.
As far as
Nope.
these people's alchemy goes, I
Elven.
don't
I do speak
understand it
Gnomish,
thoroughly.
actually. I do speak Gnomish.
You can try.
That might, I don't know.
But there might be some
Oh, look at that, I speak
wisdom
Gnomish.
in it,
What do you know?
and I would have to do my best to like make it into Orcish words, so that our apothecaries, or rather,
I feel you. So you approach the sort sort of yurt of the local. I mean, saying that it's a hedge wizard isn't definitely giving them justice. They're a druid.
I just meant more to like the outside society's
Yeah.
perspective. We'd be like hedge.
But
hedge
they
wizards.
are very much they very much combine the druidic magics with a level of herbalism that is not widely known.
So they're a naturopath, and I'm looking for
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to use that comparison for sure.
Yeah.
and
No disrespect to naturopaths.
and they
All our viewers drop us.
Homeopaths, though.
when you come to the yurt, you know that it's not impolite to just walk into someone's yurt. There's very little in the way of traditional privacy in orcish culture.
Sup?
So
if we
you
wear
enter
clothes at all, right?
you enter the yurt, and when time follows in, there's definitely like a little bit of a
Record screech.
yeah a little bit.
The jukebox goes off.
Uh-huh.
Do you want, brother?
We have something that needs your attention, your study, your discerning.
The human?
From the human, yes. However, through the human, I would say, through the human, from somewhere in our forest, something I do not understand.
That's good. Pique their interest. Like, yeah.
This is not something that anybody is comfortable with. You understand this, Michaux?
We...
Dealing with them.
Yes, of course, I do. But we must learn new ways, and I think you understand that.
That is your language, not ours.
Why?
You ask why too much.
How many tribes are left?
He says, 3, and they've been such for a great many years. We have done nothing wrong in that time. And in that time, we have been conservative with our trust. So I need you to roll a persuasion check, and it will be at a disadvantage.
Yes, we have done nothing wrong. But what have we done right lately?
Are you pulling some mystery men bullshit on me?
So I'm gonna have to take that 4.
Can I give an inspiration to this? In that I'm comprehending languages currently, and I'm doing everything.
I'm gonna stop you real quick. You are the reason why it's at a disadvantage, so this has got to be good for me to say yes.
Well, so this is where like time is hearing all of this, like, and understanding at least she's understanding the language. She can't speak back in this though. But she brings out, like, in this process, she like brings out this sample of like really weird looking fungus thing, like adding to that, like piquing the interest. And knowing Gnomish is at least something that is sort of like is an honored connection between the orcs and them. Like in Gnomish, like she kind of like sits down in respect, saying what you've seen, and kind of prostrates herself. It makes herself like less of a threat and honoring this situation. And in Gnomish, like, says, honored apothecary. Like we have answers that need to be sought. I humbly request your assistance, and lays it down at their feet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's the reason why I'm going to say yes to that is because first off, that was a great idea, and second off, not all orcs speak Gnomish. But I rolled randomly for this guy. He totally does.
Hell yeah!
So go ahead and roll disadvantage again. But then we do inspiration a little bit different, where if it's 10 or below, we add 10.
So I'm rolling 2 dice.
You're rolling 2 dice. You're gonna take the worst, but then and we'll go from there. So
good luck.
2020.
What am I adding to this? Oh God, it's not great.
-1. You're not adding anything. Sorry.
I'm trying here.
Orcs are very charismatic.
Okay,
What'd you roll?
What's your lower one?
talking about a 15.
Well, the
And
lower
a
one.
6.
But a
So
6 plus 10, so that's a 16.
16
Minus 1.
minus 1 is 15.
That's 15.
All right.
So you got your high roll.
I'll tell no one I did this for you.
You're right.
I'll take all the credit.
Explain it to her, too. She says nothing.
And
Can I get a receipt?
and so you may stick around for a number of hours to do what you do.
I will.
Yeah.
I will do all that I do.
So where was the other journey? Look, where was other folks going?
Arrows and torches, and I was going to replenish my darts if I went with Farron.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I'm down 2.
Arrows and torches is a bit, and you're going to replenish what? You said?
I was going to replenish my darts if I could because I'm down 2.
Got it. You can easily get darts. No trade required. Your arrows and torches, pretty easy to get it. You will have to trade something.
Yeah.
What exactly?
Farron carries a number of
Keth is helping Farron to make sure that no one's taking advantage of him either. Like he knows what's tradable, like what trades are, and he's not gonna let people take advantage of his friend. Just so that's clear.
Farron has a number of like mushroom harvesting tools and carrying devices.
Yeah.
And kind of offers up sort of like a personally crafted little harvesting device.
Okay. Yeah.
Easy, light, easy to carry.
Yeah.
Multifunctional.
Multifunction. Yeah, exactly.
So,
And Keth kind of explains all the features of it as like Farron's telling him about it to like whoever he's trading with.
Mm-hmm.
So what's asked of you is the carrying device plus one of your most valuable grains of mushroom that you currently have on you, and instructions what it does.
The carrying device.
The carrying device that you just described. Right?
Oh, like harvesting device.
Harvesting device. I apologize.
Okay,
And then one of your most valuable, and you know this to be not a blatant ripoff, but definitely a little bit more than
But in common, that like basically like I know this orc doesn't whatever language I know this orc doesn't speak, so I communicate Farron in. I'm gonna say what is super rare to him is different than what is super rare to you, and I would request that you keep that in mind when picking which mushroom to trade.
Well, honestly, Farron is still like fanboying out here a little bit. Like he's like, not only do I get to, like, it's kind of like he feels really like honored that he gets to leave. Like, this harvesting device that he made is like
Gonna be
found
used.
valuable to someone of the Kashar forest, which is like
New ways.
really exciting that it's like validated.
Like the orc's like over there trying not to nerd out over it because
Yeah.
you're like an elf, not an orc. But he's like at
And-
the same time like this is the fucking coolest shit I've seen all week. You know, like
he also wants to impart sort of like a good name for himself, and he's very proud of what he does. So it might not it'll be of value.
Stepping stone franchise.
But it'll also be, like you said, like it'll be like, well, we probably confer about like what you can't get here, you know, what would blow their minds. Like what do you think they want, something more like on the medicinal side, or like the like what
I think they'd want something more that's like from what they would consider like like the spiritual like journey side, like because that's how we commune
Give
with
them
the
the good
mycelium.
drugs.
Yeah, give them some drugs.
Okay.
And specifically something that would connect this particular artist, because this particular sort of craftsman works a lot with wood, a Boyer Fletcher, that kind of thing, and so to find something that this Boyer Fletcher could consume to actually like commune with the totem, with the actual like spirit of what it's crafting is really what they're after.
So essentially, I give him this Philomar.
I think she got a job.
And it's a It's like a small. It looks like a piece of dried wood, but like light, like something you'd find on the beach. And like I don't think I speak. Oh, I do speak Orc. Well, that's handy.
Oh, nice. And I'm not translating at all.
Yeah, you're not even translating.
But I am telling you things in common that he can understand.
Farron does not master accents very well, but his enthusiasm makes up for it. He's kind of like,
You're like grassy ass.
I'm that very friendly, like exchange student.
Yeah.
Who like doesn't care that he just like, you know, is piecing all like it's like I'm just very excited. Awesome. So
like
I kind of describe
like English kind of,
you know, just like you like shave off a little of this, you know, sprinkle it in your tea, on your food, whatever, and it's essentially like the equivalent of like Adderall. Like it like helps you like have extreme focus and like kind of like quiet all the other voices.
Very nice.
Like hone in on your subject.
And I explain like the value is like this one piece could last you a very long time. Like really just don't use very much.
It's gone.
You know, like essentially describing like we would like shave off a portion and sell just that, but like I'm giving you this whole
chunk.
This whole piece. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Your arrows are fletched with like really interesting like dried mushroom flange.
It gives you 40 arrows and 10 torches.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Dope.
I'm in.
Good trade. Good trade.
Are they really good arrows?
They're mushroom flange arrows. So yes.
He was particularly impressed, and he explains that 2 out of the 40 of these arrows do something a little bit out of the ordinary, and we'll explain that after we get back from break.